Stream is up. Day 27. Woohoo! Day 27 of the year of streaming and learning to code. 25% of the way through. Make a website. We're going to continue on. Let's do, you know what? There is. Close that. There we go. Issues, don't mind me. We're doing stuff. Nice. Okay. Back to reality. Day 27, 25% of the way through. We left off at, we finished site structure yesterday. A lot of basics covered in the Learn HTML and CSS Part 1. But let's continue on to Section 2, a closer look at CSS. All right. Loads, hopefully. Good. All right. There we go. CSS is a language used to style websites. Colors, fonts, and page layouts for a site can all be managed using CSS. The more comfortable you are with CSS, the better equipped you will be to create stylish and contemporary-looking websites. 10 sections. Instructions. The web browser shows a site styled with HTML and CSS. In this lesson, we will build the CSS from scratch. Click Next to get started. Topher! Hey, oh my god. Nice. You're here early. Way cool. I'm here early as well. This is shocking. Good times. How you doing? It's Friday. That's fun, right? For some people. Alright. Misty Wood Publishers Limited. Sprout, a book by J. Daniel Bedford. Read now. Oh my god, I can click read now? No. I can't click read now. I don't think my cursor shows on the stream. I'm okay, getting over the flu. Well, at least you're getting better. The flu is never fun. I think I made it through this winter without catching anything, so fingers crossed. Not out of winter yet. Yeah, so I don't think my cursor shows on the stream, but it changes from a regular arrow to a hand where I can click on read now, but nothing opens. So close. Next. Actually, did I read what was on the first page? The web browser shows a site styled with HTML and CSS. In this lesson, we will build the CSS from scratch. Click Next to get started. All right. Take a look at the web browser. Technically, this is the same site you saw in the previous exercise. It contains the exact same HTML elements and content as before. What's missing? The CSS that was used to previously style the site has been unlinked. The HTML link element links a CSS file to an HTML file so that CSS styling can be applied. Here's an example of the link element. Link relationship equals style sheet, type text/CSS, href, main.css. About the link element uses 3 attributes. Rel specifies the relationship between the current file and the file being linked to. In this case, the rel attribute is style sheet. Type specifies the type of file linked to. Href provides the URL of the file being linked to. 2, like the HTML image element, the link itself, the link is self-closing. It does not need a closing tag. Gotcha. Closing tag free. In the example above, main.css is an external style sheet. Using external style sheets is one of the most popular ways to write CSS. Inline CSS is another method. Instructions. 1. Use the link element to connect index.html and main.css. Inside the head element of index.html, insert a link element that connects index and main. Use the code snippet above as a guide. Click Run. Notice the effect in the browser. Main is now linked to index, and the CSS from main.css is now applied to the HTML elements. All right. Again, a lot of this seems to be very similar to the last section where it was a lot of repeat, or yeah, we'll call it repeat info from that first Learn HTML and CSS part 1. But I believe at the later sections of this, not this specific exercise, but of this unit, the Make a Website, hopefully they apply some more advanced techniques, but we'll see when we get there. So, in the meantime, we are using this as a reference. They've cleared out a space for us. We will do link. We'll type it out. Link rel equals quotes style sheet type equals text slash CSS and href equals blah main.css. Okay. Slash closing tag. Beautiful. Run it. What we got? Success. Beautiful, beautiful. Sprouts. Loving it. Onwards. Page 3. Awesome job. Now, main.css is linked to index.html. Before we start writing our own CSS, let's take a look at how CSS code works. The diagram to the right shows the anatomy of a CSS rule. 1 rule, a list of CSS instructions for how to style a specific HTML element or a group of HTML elements. 2, selector specifies exactly which HTML elements to select. Here, H1 is the selector. 3, properties and values. Located inside the curly brackets, properties and values specify what aspects of the selector to style. In the diagram's example, the color property is set to red, which will display all H1 elements in red. Noted. Onwards. 4 of 10. So far, so good. One of the most effective ways to enhance the look and feel of a website is by changing the font. In CSS, font is managed by using the font family property. H1, font family, Georgia, serif. Above, the font family property of the H1 selector is set to the value of Georgia, with serif as a fallback font. Fallback fonts are included in case a visitor's web browser does not support the first font. Sometimes more than one fallback font is included. Okay, 1. The Mistwood Publisher website could be improved with more stylish font. Main.css, locate the H1 selector inside of the curly brackets, font family, Palatino, linotype. Not sure if I said that right. And serif. Click Run and notice how the words Mistwood Publisher Limited Valentino is now the font. Okay. We're going from bleak and dreary to hold on tight, ladies and gentlemen. H1, right? In file.css. H1 inside the brackets, we've got font. We're adding font family. Font hyphen family colon Latino Palatino, linotype, serif. Run. Da 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 da. Okay, okay. It's a step in the right direction. Not exactly the prettiest site yet, but you know, it's a work in progress. 5 of 10. Alright. The new font looks great. However, black is not your only option when it comes to font color. In CSS, the color property sets the color of a CSS selector's font. H1 color red. CSS comes equipped with 140 named colors, such as red used above. For many situations, these named colors will suffice. However, web developers who want to get even more exact with their color choices can use hexadecimal and RGB color values. A lot of repeat info, but that's okay. That's okay. 1 hexadecimal color, hashtag pound, either way. RRGGBB hexadecimal values that represent mixtures of red, green, and blue. For example, red can be expressed with the hexadecimal value of FF0000. FF represents red, 00 represents green, and 00 represents blue. RGB colors created by 3 numbers representing red, green, and blue. When mixed together, the 3 values create a specific color. For example, purple can be represented as RGB 128, 0, 128. Lovely, lovely. Instructions. We're moving on. Instruction 1. H1. Heading elements on the Mistwood publishing website are colored black by default. Let's change them to red. In main.css, locate H1. Located. Directly underneath the line of code where you added the font family property, add color red. Challenge accepted. Color red. Deal with it. Run. Nice, nice. Onwards. 2. Replace red, replace red with a different named color. Here are some other options. Great. Let's go with antique white. I don't think we want antique white. We'll take a look. We'll take a look. Typical. Run. Alright, kind of. Maybe on a darker background other than white. Chocolate. Chocolate. Pasties. Run. Alright. Dark olive green. Don't mind section 3. We're ignoring section 3 right now. Color. We're getting sidetracked, pasting different colors. Dark olive green. Get the feeling deep sky blue will be our winner. Unless we default back to red. Nope, deep sky blue. That's her winner. Very episode 4 Luke Skywalker's original blue before the edited versions of the DVDs. Yes, that's right. Alright, for that pale blue. That lovely pale blue. Okay, section 3, or instruction 3. Hex color provides millions of different shades of color. Try replacing the named color with one of the hex colors below. Oh, we're gonna get rid of deep sky blue. Copy. The dark is nice. We're just going to leave it. We don't need to run through all of those. Lovely, lovely. 4. The hex colors listed in the previous step can also be created using RGB values. Dear Lord. I was gonna... Not important. Moving on. Moving on. The hex colors listed in the previous step can also be created using RGB values. Try this out by swapping out the hex color values on the left for the RGB values on the right. See the result in the browser. Before Lucas changed it so Han didn't shoot for... Exactly. Topher knows what's up. Okay, we're changing the hex colors listed in the previous step. Okay, see the result. We're just dropping in one of these hex versus blah. We're going to do the second line. Copy. We're going to do you. There's this. Why do I keep hitting enter when I need to be hitting run? Okay. Dreary white. Although I believe the technical term is antique white, but still soul crushing. RGB. Run. Yes, yes. Equally depressing. Lovely. We're going to copy you. Go to something a little less off-putting. Run. Next. Okay, section 6. We are on a roll, although this is basic, but that feeling of frustrated because it's so simple or that you know what you're doing is a good sign. Like when you're studying flashcards and you just want to jump out the window because you've memorized everything, that's the sign that it's sinking in. So I try to look for that feeling of, this feels terrible, I want it to end. So that's a bit overkill, but you know what I mean. It means we're making progress and it's sinking in, so that's always a good sign. Okay. Up to this point, we've used CSS to select an HTML element by its tag name only. However, we can use class selectors to target classes of HTML elements. Consider the HTML below. Div class equals header, h2 heading, p paragraph, divs. Yes, lovely. The div is the parent element. H2 and P are children. CSS style applied to the header class selector will automatically apply to the H2 and the paragraph. There's a refresher on parent and child elements. Where does this take us? Takes us to the exact same thing. Oh, it's taking us back to the last section, right? Pretty sure. Yeah, that was last. That was yesterday's. Closing out of that. Onwards. Okay. In CSS, class selectors can be identified by a dot followed by the class name as seen below, dot header, color. As a result of this code, hey! Oh, look at, oh my god, old cat, you missed a step. Should try a small side project outside of these. Yeah, I was gonna take, after going through, don't mind me. Oh, just don't sit on my phone. There we go. After, Codecademy, I was going to take a look at, I believe it's free Codecamp. Was that it? Were you the one who selected, or who recommended it? Maybe it was someone else. Early on, someone threw out free Codecamp, and I've been doing a little more research now that I've been getting deeper into this after doing this every day now for 27 days, slowly getting into it more and more. So I did a little more research, saw some videos on YouTube, and I wasn't looking for Free Code Camp, but they ended up referencing Free Code Camp, and they went into kind of more detail about that, and that seems like a really good platform. It seems like you can actually get certificates through there, or if you complete enough projects, then it's kind of equivalent, or you would at least have the confidence to apply for the certificate. It's a lot of like free projects, like real world projects, so that was cool. So I think I may do that. How you doing, kitty? You good? Why don't I see your other leg? You've got one leg facing me. What is... No, you're just really old. You're an old broken cat. Good. Alright, let's do this. The other thing is, although I'm trying to do everything as sort of as cheap, more of as free as possible. It just takes a lot more time and effort on my part to piece it all together. But Codecademy does have the Pro, where they've got more like, or the Pro accounts, where you have access to more projects and things like that. So I don't know. I may do that, but I think cost-wise and time and effort, I may just probably go through Free Code Camp if I'm looking for side projects instead of paying for the Pro account and get more real-world experience. Okay. CSS selectors before Kitty almost fell off the desk. What happened? As a result of this code, child elements of the div with header class will have font color blah blah blah. Below we will use CSS Selector to style more than one HTML element at once. Okay. 1. Websites often use more than one font family. In index.html, the H2 heading and paragraph elements are contained inside a div with a class of hero, and main.css add properties for the hero class selector that change the font family to, oh god, Kitty, you're on the move. Careful. Careful. Hey, you turned on the TV. Look at that. I didn't even notice that. Is that... We're gonna kill that. Oh god. There we go. There we go. Yeah, good. Nice. Crazy cat. Okay. Okay, adding font with fallbacks of Helvetica and sans serif. Use the guide below. Okay, we're just dropping in a font. We are dropping in a font. Cat hair everywhere on the desk now. Ugh. Good. Good. Important. Main.css 2 properties. Side note. Free Code Camp and Codecademy are good tutorial sites to guide you through learning, but doing your own projects outside of tutorial is a different learning style that will help the content sink in. It's actually, as I was reading your thing, I was just wondering, what is, so like, here in Codecademy, yeah, there we go, here in Codecademy, they've got like this code editor built into the site. Is there external sources? Like, I still haven't even, because I don't even know what to look for. Because when I've clicked on other programming streams, I've seen, it looks like they've got some type of program or an environment where when they key things in, it's got the different colored fonts for the different elements and things like that. Is there some application or software? I mean, I've opened Xcode before on, I've got a Mac, so a lot of Mac stuff, but I don't know. Again, I haven't done a lot of research. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I would like to start a side project or two of just my own things of some sort. I don't know what, but I feel like I need that code environment. Like when I had attempted Codecademy like a couple years ago and went through the HTML and JavaScript stuff, very basic, and then I kind of fell off the bandwagon, so I'm just starting from scratch again. But when I was at that point, I learned HTML and Java, and then I was trying to do my own like side apps, but I would always go back into Codecademy to use their code editor because I didn't know where else to go. I mean, I know I could use like Notepad or a basic text editor to write it out. That way there was no like font issues or whatever, just a plain text editor, but that wasn't exactly the same. So Atom.io. You sent the link. There are a ton of text editors and integrated development environments out there. Atom is what I use. It's free. Noted. Atom. We will add that to the to-do list. Hold on. Get Atom. Done. Noted. Awesome. Cats are on the move. Okay. No, you can't. Her face is just out of range. There's a cat head right here. She is sleeping. Irrelevant, but good to know. Okay, so Atom, I will definitely put that to use. So I also want to do a side project where I build, like with each course that I go through Codecademy, is keep piling on with every single piece of the puzzle that I learn. Just kind of an abomination. And then GitHub. Do you use GitHub? I feel like people use GitHub. I don't even know how to use GitHub. I mean, I know you pull stuff off like a main branch and then you modify it and then you like sync it back up 1 year later, but I still haven't even tinkered with it. So new. 27 days in, so. Alright, I do use GitHub sometimes. Awesome. Okay, we totally got sidetracked with cats falling and curiosity. Let's tackle this. Important in the main CSS2 properties, padding and margin are seen with .hero selector. We will cover these in Unit 2, CSS boundaries and spacing. Click Run. We are going to add .hero. Yes, there. Good. Font family. Font family. Helvetica. Run. Success. Onwards. 7 of 10. Cat, we are slowly nearing the end. No, you're not excited. You're just gonna keep bleeping. Okay. We don't want to fall short of your 19 hours quota of sleep. God forbid you fall short of that. The size of text has an impact on how users experience a website. The font size, property set, the size, okay, font size 60, and CSS font size set to 60px. Can be assigned pixels, rems, or ems. px is pixels, okay. Rem represents the default font size for a web browser. Rem can use to ensure HTML elements scale in proportion to each other on various web browsers and screens. On most web browsers, 1 rem is equivalent to 16, 2 is 32, 3, 48. Okay. Ems are a relative value that change in proportion to screen size of the parent element. For example, the parent element has a font size of 20 pixels. Child element with 1 would be equivalent to 20. Child element with a font size of 0.5 would be 10. Interesting. See, like that. That would be great to do a side project. I know I could do it here. But just to throw some, well, for lack of a better word, just cluster, right? And just cram it all together and see what happens. Because I like hands-on learning. I mean, it is good. There is a lot of very straightforward copy and paste. This is basic. A lot of high-level concepts. Low-level concepts? I don't know. Whichever's easier. There's a lot of repeat stuff. That we're already running into here on Codecademy, so. Okay, M's and stuff. We're just moving on. 1. H2 heading for the Mistwood publishing website would be more impressive if its font size were larger. Main.css locate the H2 selector and set font size to 48 pixels. Do it to it. H2. Is that a train? No. There's no train tracks around here. Semi-truck. It was the horn. Sounded like a train whistle. Not quite the whistle. You know what I mean. Okay. 48 pixels may still be too small. Change it to 56. 56. Now let's get some experience using rem values. Right. 3. Let's get some main. For the P selector, add font size to rem. Click run. The paragraph element on the web page should double. Paragraph element at the bottom of the web page also has increase. So P, nothing inside there. Font size. To run it. Now let's resize anchor elements that are children of elements with the hero class using m values. In main.css, locate the .hero a selector. Change the font size property to 1.25 ems. Click run. .hero a font size 1.5 ems. Run it. What did I? What? Oh, 1.25, not 1.5. Rookie mistake. It's okay. It's fitting. Next. 8 of 10. Onwards. In CSS, the background image property sets a background image of your choice for a given selector as seen below. .hero background image URL blah. .jpg. The CSS rule above assigns the image hosted at http cs blah 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 dot jpeg to elements that have a class attribute set to hero. To control the size of the background chosen of the chosen background image, use the property background size as seen below. Hero this and hero that. We have specified that we want the image to completely cover the elements. Good. Let's add a background image to the Mistwood Publishing homepage. Main.blah, locate hero class selector, insert the rule, insert the background image, use this link. Remember, in order for the background image to work, you will need to include the URL and parentheses in the property's value, as seen below. The other image URL must be contained within quotation marks. Click run, notice the background image assigned to the hero.div in the web browser. Okay, so they had .hero, background image, URL, a link within the quotes, and that's all she wrote. Background image, URL, quotes, link, followed by background size, which is cover. Okay. And then, so in section 2, we'll be doing background size. So right now we are just laying the groundwork within .hero. Background image URL parentheses quotes. We're gonna just take that, drop in the link, semicolon, and run. All is well in the neighborhood. In the web browser, you may notice that the background image seems rather close up. Sure, slightly. I mean, I'm not against it. A nice photo. Rather close up. We can make it so that more of the image is seen by using the background size property, main.hero background image property, background size cover. Truthfully, we're just going to take this. Copy. Run. Okay. Cool. 3. Now that a background image covers the .hero div, the black font color makes it difficult to read the text of H2 and paragraph. Main.css, give the .hero a color property of FFFF. Love it, love it. What are we, where now? .hero, right? Color? Isn't there color? Font family, padding, margin. No color. There's a lack of color in .hero. Color, no. Font color, right? Just color. Just color. See? Hashtag, watch this, 1, 2, 3. Equates to the FFFFFFF, but I don't know if they're actually going to give me that. They may want all 6. I don't know how finicky their code editor is. Let's find out. It's good. It compiles. Nice. Onwards. 9 of 10. We are on the... Okay, she's turned over. She's not even looking at me anymore. The background image makes a big difference. Nice work. A previous exercise introduced CSS Class Selectors to style HTML elements of specific classes. What if a web page design calls for an individual page element to be styled uniquely, but all other elements of that kind to be styled but all other elements of that kind to be styled a different way? For example, to style one anchor element differently than all others on a web page, you could use the HTML ID attribute. ID equals learn code reference, click here. Then, in the CSS file, you would create a rule for the ID selector using a hashtag symbol, learn code, about using IDs. An ID attribute can only be used once because the ID is unique to the element it is assigned to. 2. IDs have greater specificity than classes. If an HTML element is using both ID and class attributes, the CSS rule for the ID will take precedence over that of the class. Below, we will use the ID selector to style a single HTML element differently than others of that kind on the web page. 1. In the exercise titled 6 Font Size, we enlarge the font size property for paragraph elements. This unintentionally increased the size of the paragraph, which reads copyright 2016 blah 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 at the bottom. We can use an ID attribute to fix this effect. In index.html, locate the paragraph element mentioned above, set the ID to footer. Okay. And then click run. So, index.html, paragraph element, set ID to footer. Here we go. Paragraph, that's the only one. Book stuff, Mistwood Publishers, space, ID, hashtag, no, equals, just kidding, quotes, footsies. Footer. Right? Run. Semi-green. Green checkbox. Very nice. 2. Main.css. Add a new ID selector. Use the hashtag footer as the name of the ID selector. Alright. Hashtag. Wait, right? Add a new ID selector. Hashtag footer. Curly braces, brackets, curly brackets. And run. That's all they have for 2. Cool. 3. Give footer a font size, property of 0.75 rems. Font size. Yeah. Colon? Yes. 0.75 rem. Semicolon and run. Green checkbox across the board. Hey, look at that. Micro font. Lovely. And read now still does nothing. Good. Consistency. Important. Alright. Congratulations. You worked hard and made it to the end of a challenging lesson. There were a lot of new concepts. I feel like they have it set up. This is all, yes, web content, CSS is fun, CSS is great, external links, CSS property, font family, colors, up next, boundaries and spaces. We'll start that. We are going to back out, but an important part of styling a web page is CSS, is organizing boundaries and space. Like, I'm glad to learn it all again, or to touch base on it. but I can't tell. I get the feeling as I've done more and more sections now. I know this is only the 4th one, but if it backs out to the catalog, although it will be getting into different stuff slowly, I don't know. I'm concerned that there's going to be a lot of repeat content here. Like, each of these are kind of individual. Each course is its own sort of encapsulated thing. I don't know if this is an actual path that they've set up. I think it's set up so someone's like, hey, I need to make a website. What's the basics? And there's that. And that's all they would ever need to do, is just this one thing. I don't think it was intended for them to go, I'm going to do HTML and then learn Java and then this, and each course flows. I know the topics kind of flow through each other. But we'll see. Estimated forever. Interesting. I don't know if those were there the other days, or the other day ago. Deploy a website in HTML will be repeat content mostly. Yeah, that sounds like we're on the same page. But like, I'm definitely excited. I want to see command line. The other thing is that I'm this guy. I want 100% and to do it in order, and if there is no order, then I will find a way to make order. So, and just do everything. I've been kind of powering through the make a website one. I flew through yesterday's. Sass didn't take too long. And I know these are also shorter courses, but they've been easier. All right. Well, with that said, addressing concerns, we will see where do I stand as of now. View profile. I would recommend getting very comfy with HTML and CSS and JavaScript first. Oh, wait. There was more. Command line will be useful. Python you could probably skip for now unless you are concerned with learning server-side languages right now. It's not so much a concern. I was doing tech support for this, and I was doing the main language we'd use was like SQL mostly, which I think they have a SQL course here, but it was mostly a lot of the scripts we were running were queries, so like pulling data. We would do some updates here and there, but a lot of it was mainly just pulling data, and that was pulling it from the server. Again, I was like tech support, so when the web interface wasn't working, you know, when Bernice in HR was struggling to get the software to function, or it was just not quite working, you know, the info was there. It was just the web interface wasn't keeping up or doing something, so we'd have to go into the back end via SQL and pull data from there. So I'm kind of interested in learning another server-side language like Python. So yeah, that's that. And then as far as the getting comfy with HTML and CSS, yeah, I think although it's a lot of repeat info, I don't mind that because I think it also paints a picture on how important having that foundation is. I think they would only have learn HTML and CSS part 1 and make a website and deploy a website and HTML and CSS again, all right here in the first half so many times if it were sort of that important. So yeah, but I want 100% across the board. The other thing was for free code camp, for those projects, as far as the side projects they offer, because it's all like real world help. I guess people just submit issues, and when people fix them, then they get picked up. So the video I watched, the guy was saying no one's actually completed all the courses in Free Code Camp. So I think I may try to finish everything, kind of like as I'm going to try and complete everything here on Codecademy. So that's what I've got my sights on next after this, or in tandem. We'll see. All right. We looked at this. View profile, Python, PHP, and that are all server side. Good to know. The videos I've seen, again, I haven't been like doing a bunch of additional research. I'm kind of just researching as I go through, if I see anything or if anything piques my interest when I'm on YouTube, since I'm going through and I'm still so new. But I keep seeing conflicting info for PHP. It seems like it's kind of a regional thing. Some areas it seems like it's dying off and like people aren't using it, and some areas it sounds like PHP is still one of the go-to languages. So I don't know what to do. I think Codecademy, I was looking at their schedule. I did a stream where I dug through all the like about us and the additional resources for all the courses, and it looks like they're actually going to be sunsetting PHP. So I don't know what that's all about, if they're just getting rid of it or if they're just going to stop updating it. Maybe I interpreted sunsetting incorrectly, but where I was last working, when they would sunset something, that was to clear out and move on. PHP you either love or hate, but it's a good language. PHP 7 boasts a lot of performance from previous versions to compete with blah. Check out Code Wars as well. Alright, adding Code Wars to the list. We will be checking out Adam and Code Wars. Good times. All right, I think that's about it for today. For tomorrow's stream, I'm gonna be gone most of tomorrow, like weird hours. Knott's Berry Farm, woohoo! Sort of. I've been there in at least a decade, close to a decade. So yeah, I'll be there. I don't know, 12 hours tomorrow, like 10 to 10. So I'm either gonna do a really late stream tonight, like 12:01, because I'm still trying to code on the day. So today's the 27th, so it'll be the 28th at midnight, 12:01, or really early in the morning tomorrow at like 7 or 8, probably 9 at latest, before I leave at 10. And then if I don't do it either really late tonight or early tomorrow, then it'll be another really late stream at like 11:30 or something like that PM. So we'll see. There's a big industry shift towards using JavaScript on the front end and back end now. Consistency's, a good thing. Universal language, front and back. That's the one thing, and I'm glad I had the experience, because there was, since I was tech support, we had access to the front end. Like we could sign in as customers and or our clients basically to assist to see their access versus our kind of mid-level support access to back end and front end. And then we also had like purely back end access directly to the server only. So having that perspective, and I had done, this was, when I had first done Codecademy like a couple years ago, I had the general idea of HTML and CSS and JavaScript and like what was happening. So picking up basic SQL scripts was pretty straightforward and easy. Just for querying data, at least that wasn't too hard. But working through balancing the software of the front end that the user's using and seeing if you do have that mid-level kind of support software in between instead of purely front end and back end access only, I definitely developed an appreciation for programs or software where if there is that middle ground, if you have support software basically that can function as front end, a customer client, and sort of that back end developer access, kind of developing across all three territories. So any programs or things that I develop, I definitely, at least I'm aware if there's a need for technical support to be sure to balance that. But with that being said, I can see the benefit to using the same language across the front and back end just to help simplify things. But that's a much more large scale training employees and probably just industry perspective. But anywho, on a tangent. Have fun at the theme park. Yes, thank you, definitely. Hope you enjoy your weekend as well. And again, I don't know if I'll be streaming either super late tonight, really early tomorrow, or really late tomorrow. So it'll be one of those for day 28. But that's it for today. Day 27 concludes. We are back and out. OBS, everything looks good. Little kitty's still asleep. Awesome. Still in the stream.